Shaun, we gonna do this?
Is that still going on?
I mean, it's national championship.
I guess roll the intro.
Hey everybody, welcome to In the Red Zone. Sean Brown, Michael Johnston here, and today it's the last official pick of this season. We're talking about the national championship game. It's finally here. It's a little more than a week away. Clemson, LSU should be a great matchup. First time you and I have had a chance together to talk about what happened in the semifinals, so let's just recap that real quick. LSU just took care of business and rolled easily over Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And that was the first game in the semifinal. What was your reaction to that?
Well, in the beginning of the game, it looked like both teams were going to kind of have a slugfest and go shot for shot, but Oklahoma showed again that if you don't have depth, that can happen to you. Not to make excuses, but their best pass rusher was out, their best safety was out, and then I forget when it was during the game, but Brendan Radley-Hiles, who a lot of people know of, goes and gets a targeting call against a guy who he shouldn't have been going for. Right. He should have been going for Burrow on that play. So he gets knocked out of the game, bringing in Woody Washington, who's a freshman, a true freshman, had played in 4 games. Woody Washington then has to burn his red shirt to come into the national championship game.
Semifinal game.
Yeah. Sorry. So anyway, that just... The targeting call, whatever, my biggest thing was just him going for a guy he shouldn't have been going for. I don't know if he was trying to hurt Hilaire, but it was just a dumb, stupid mistake made by a youngish player. But they just showed on defense that they just didn't have the bodies at all to be able to compete with LSU. I mean, LSU... Every bit of OU losing that game, LSU won that game because they, I don't know if Chase even, did he have a catch or two? Jamar Chase had?
Jefferson had 4, Chase had 1, Moss had 1. I don't know. Burrow threw 7 total in the first half.
So did Chase have a touchdown? I thought he didn't.
Maybe he didn't have, let's see, Jefferson had 4.
Because long into the game, I mean, I could pull it up, but... Yeah. They kind of, I think they put Parnell Motley on Chase and really kind of hindered his play. I mean, Motley did a phenomenal job in that game. But what LSU was able to do is go to their next best guy in Jefferson and say, okay, you take away one of our guys, we've got 3 like him, So that was just what LSU had. And I mean, their defensive line was able to just kind of smother OU's offensive line. And OU just didn't have any answers for him.
I'm looking it up real quick because I forgot. So I'm looking at the
So anyway, it just huge disappointment. I mean, I said, in our predictions, I thought OU would come within 10. I should have been a little bit more realistic in that the fact that OU was without several of their key players that got them to where they were. You lose Ronnie Perkins, Delarian Turner-Yell. Then you lose your backup running back in Ramondre Stevens, and then a really good special teams player in Trajan Bridges. I mean, those are guys that add to your depth, that you're able to do some of the things that LSU is able to do because they have depth. I mean, if you look at the talent that each team has brought in, I think both of them have 60% blue chip players on their rosters. So it's not a huge talent differential, but you lose so many key players. And that I mean, we obviously saw what happened. And then Joe Burrow is the other side of that. I mean, he just could not miss. Yeah. I mean, the guy played like Tom Brady. I mean,
and he's done that all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, it's phenomenal what he was able to do.
He earned every bit of that Heisman.
So Chase had 2 catches for 61 yards, did not have a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, the other side of that is the second game, Clemson and Ohio State. I've already done a long reaction to that one. Had to wait 24 hours before doing a response because I was pretty heated on that one. I don't know. To me, there were 3 key moments in that game that I've talked about before. The first one was the targeting on, I think it was Wade, the safety. When these guys are going full tilt, 100% going in, and when Lawrence is up in his throwing position, his target area is the chest.
Yeah, he
not
dropped.
the head and neck.
Lawrence dropped.
But then Lawrence drops and you hit in the head, and I just don't think you can call that on a defender for that, because I mean when you're full tilt, you're leaning forward. You can't just stop.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just change your trajectory when you're going that fast.
Yeah. And it looked worse in slow-mo than it did in in normal speed.
Right. But I just think that it was, that was a game changer, because he comes out, Josh Proctor comes in, and I'm sorry, but the game was way above Josh Proctor's ability.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not ready at all. He was faked out by Lawrence on Lawrence's big run. He gave up another key touchdown pass because he just had no idea what he was doing. So that was a game changer for the secondary for Ohio State. And then you have the catch, fumble, scoop, and score that turns out to be an incomplete pass, which you'll never convince me that was an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
I mean, he caught it, he had control, he took 3 steps, and then Okudah knocks it out. It was a catch and a fumble.
Yeah.
So,
the only reason I think they were really saying that is because he held the ball out here like this the whole time.
Right.
And so it didn't look like he made an attempt to tuck it or anything like that. He had it, but you've got it in your hands. He secured it.
That is a catch when you're catching on the sideline and getting one foot in.
Right.
You don't have to tuck it.
You
So
can
it's
literally
like,
catch the ball and put it over the
right,
pylon.
and that's a catch.
Yeah.
So how is this not a catch?
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I really do. And then the other part was, this was entirely Ryan Day and Ohio State's screw up, in my opinion, was the possession before Clemson got the last touchdown. It was obvious they were in kill the clock mode. They were not aggressive. They were not trying to score. They're just running, kind of like falling down. I mean, there was no effort to get that first down there at the end. They were just trying to kill the clock, and you're only up 2. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen this in high school and college when coaches go into that prevent offense and then they lose the game. So, the penalty, the phantom incomplete pass, it was a factor, but so was that offensive series.
Yeah.
I mean, because even if Clemson doesn't get the touchdown, a field goal puts them ahead. And it's been a struggle all game. You get down the red zone, it's been a struggle to get in the end zone. There's no guarantee you're even going to score. Yeah. So when you got the ball and you're moving it, you got to stay aggressive and you got to try to score. So I think that's as much on Ryan Day as it is those 2 calls. So, but at the end of the day, Lawrence had a good game. The Clemson defense played pretty well. They pretty much shut out Chase Young. I think he only had 2 tackles for the whole game. So, I mean, I'm not blaming him. You're getting double team and triple teams, but but he's a huge factor, and if you can take him out, it gives your offense a better chance at moving the ball. So now that brings us to Monday, January 13th, the national championship game. LSU is a 5.5-point favorite, but ESPN's matchup predictor says Clemson is a 55.8% chance of winning the game. So. Kind of a tale of 2 tapes. You have Vegas, you have ESPN's predictor. Yeah. Neither one's right all the time. It's just, that's what stats we have to go on. But overall, your initial thought on this matchup?
I don't know. I really don't know. With LSU beating Oklahoma like they did, you almost don't want to overreact because of what Oklahoma lost before that game, prior to. And I don't know. I really looked back on the last 10 years of national champions, and there were only 2 in 2010. There was Auburn, who won the national championship with the number 53 ranked total defense, and also the number 53 ranked scoring defense. And then in 2014, Ohio State won the national championship with the number 26 total and scoring defenses. So every other year in the last decade, the national champion has had either the number 1, at least a top 10
defense.
Total and scoring defense. And I know a lot of those statistics you can you really can't kind of compare, because each conference is different.
Right.
The Big 12 through those years likes to throw the ball a lot. The Big 10 is more ground and pound, not as many points scored in those games. SEC was the same way. But there is something to be said about a trend that says that almost every single year, 80% of the last decade, there's been national champions that have had the best scoring and total defenses.
Sure.
So it's really tough because this year Clemson has the number 1 total and I believe the number 2 or number 1 scoring defense, and LSU's
The only thing I would say about that is when you look at the total body of the two schedules, it is completely opposite because you look at who LSU's played.
But I also thought
and
that
look at who Clemson's played.
I thought that would play a factor into the Ohio State Clemson game. So I don't really know. I think Dabo's a good enough coach that he can kind of make up for a lot of that not playing very good competition. I mean, they played a phenomenal team in Ohio State and they beat them. So
I will say the one thing that helped Clemson a lot, it actually I saw it in the Big Ten championship game and I knew it was going to happen, is with Justin Fields having the brace. He just isn't as quick, and he can't escape those quick pressure situations where all season long he's jumped here, jumped there, get to the side, outran a guy, made a throw, made a run, and since he's had the brace on, he hasn't been able to get away. And that was a huge change and a huge factor. Joe Burrow all year long, even against some of those great defenses, he's just done it time and time again. And that LSU offense has not had a slow week. They have not had an off week. And against the likes of Alabama and Auburn and Florida and Georgia, and they're still putting up 40 to 50 points a game. It's pretty impressive, I mean, I think. So
they're kind of sorry to be cheesy, but they're kind of a team of destiny right now. I mean,
feel they are.
The confidence they had going into the semifinal, the confidence they had after. I mean, Joe Burrow said, "I don't think there's anybody who can stop our offense."
And I think he's right. I don't think there is. So then if that's what you believe and you think LSU's offense is going to be able to do the same thing against Clemson, which I will say in the third and fourth quarters, Brett Venables comes up with some magical stuff. I mean, he figures out a way to slow offenses down. We'll see what happens. But assuming LSU's offense continues on this path, can Clemson's offense with Trevor Lawrence, can they keep up?
It seems like they just continue to. Trevor Lawrence isn't a flashy quarterback, but he just 4 or 5 plays in a game, he just does what he absolutely needs to do to win a game. I mean, it's insane. So you've got 2 quarterbacks who are completely different. One in Joe Burrow, who the entire game he's making incredible throws that just make your jaw drop.
It's amazing what he can do.
And then Trevor Lawrence is just I don't want to say game manager because he comes up with these crazy good plays. I would say Burrow's probably a game manager that can throw like the like a college Tom Brady. So I don't know. This is a tough one.
The X factor I think is Lawrence being able to scramble. Because what he did against Ohio State, I think he'll be able to do a little easier against LSU. So LSU's defense has stepped up, no doubt about it. And they are playing strong right when they need to be here at the end of the season. But they're not a top 10 defense. And there's holes in that defense. And we'll see if Clemson can exploit that.
There were things that even the Oklahoma offense, I mean, they did score 28. I mean, you think in a lot of games you score 28 against certain teams and you should be able to win if you have a good defense. But man, Clemson's defense, I think that I mean, they're leagues better than Oklahoma at this point at full strength. I mean, that's where it's the tough part is which defense is going to play better because we both know the offenses can do what they can do. So it's just what can those defenses do, and it scares me to pick LSU just because of what we've seen in the past of defense winning championship over and over and over again. But Joe Burrow, to me, is the X factor in that he can just kind of overcome a lot of that. Oklahoma fans have said for years, if they just had a good defense, they could have won a national championship.
I believe that's true.
In 2017 and 2018. If they just had a top 30 defense, well,
they would have beat Georgia.
LSU's got the number 26 defense statistically. So we'll see.
So just some quick stats to compare. Joe Burrow has thrown for 5,200 yards and 55 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence has thrown for over 3,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. On the ground, Etienne has 1,536 yards, 18 touchdowns. Edwards-Helaire, 1,304 yards and 16 touchdowns. He's played in fewer games because of the injuries. And receiving, Chase leads LSU with 1,559 yards, 18 touchdowns. Higgins, 1,115 yards, 13 touchdowns. So as far as statistics go, Clemson's defense giving up 10 points per game, just over 10. LSU scoring a little over 48 points a game. Clemson scoring over 45. LSU's defense giving up 21. Both getting over 500 yards of total offense per game. All that stats aside, like I said, when you're playing an ACC schedule versus an SEC schedule, especially SEC West, those numbers are inflated. I mean, they're skewed some. So you can't take that on its face value. You have to compare who they've played and all that. So at the end of the day, you're talking about two undefeated teams. So no reason to look back on who they beat or anything.
Right.
But LSU is a 5.5-point favorite. To me, I'm taking LSU to cover that. I think the final score is going to be something like 42-35 or 48-35 in favor of LSU. I could definitely see Clemson getting to 30 points.
Yeah.
I don't know how much further over 30, but I don't think they can hold LSU under 40. I just think that offense with Joe Burrow, I think it is his destiny. It's his destiny to win this national championship. I think it's his destiny to be the first overall pick in the draft. I mean, what he's been able to do and how he stays laser focused. I mean, with all the hype surrounding the Heisman and the nonprofit that made all the money off his Heisman speech back in Athens, Ohio, all the trips, everything. People, he made a comment. Now he can't go out to dinner because too many people know him and he gets bombarded. So now he's into that, that really celebrity lifestyle. And it didn't affect him one bit in the semifinal or the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
He has stayed laser focused and he has kept his team laser focused, at least on offense. And I think that continues. So I will take LSU to, in my opinion, easily cover 5.5.
Yeah. Man, I'm really tempted to pick Clemson to cover. I think LSU's going to win this game. I wholeheartedly believe that. But I see this being a really close game, and I know that's kind of taken the easy way, just to kind of say, you're really not picking a team if you're picking Clemson. I mean, man, I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna say Clemson covers.
Okay. All right. So we're split
I'm gonna
on that.
say it's a close game.
Okay.
Just the defense thing is just sticking in my mind.
Yeah, it's a factor, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. That's our picks for the national championship game. That's it for this college football season. No more picks after this. We're not picking the College Bowl.
I was going to say sacks allowed is one thing I look at as well. Clemson's a top 10 team in how many sacks they've allowed. LSU is number 72 in the country. But playing a lot better opponents, defenses, and so
absolutely.
That has a lot to do with it.
Yep. Okay, so that's it. We are going to be taking a break for a couple weeks, and then we'll be back to start with the XFL. But for now, that's our picks for the national championship game. We hope you guys enjoy the game. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell, go on the podcast, do all that stuff.
And did you LSU fans hear me? I said they would win the game, so go easy on me. I just think that it's going to be a close one. Don't murder me in the comments there.
All right, that's it for us. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Take care.